Yeah, 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 best trader, not best index and crypto trader ever. Right? Alright, guys, so this is my first trade recap. I'll be going over the trade that we took on Monday. Alright, let's get back to it. So I was trading on Nasdaq smoking to your gas pack, ripping open to your ass crack. Alright? Alright, stop messing around, let's get to it. So on the on a I don't know what's wrong with me, bro. Oh, on a high time frame on the 1 hour time frame, which is our time frame we used to mark our areas, POI, which already marked out. We marked out all our target for the day, probably for the search, which we had these highs, this 1 hour highs, this our last 1 hour behind before the London session. This 1 hour lows probably for London session. Then hopping down to 30 minutes, we have these highs right over here. We have this fair value gap, and we have these lows. So scale down to the 3 minutes to look for our entries. All right, that's too much clicking. So as price, went into our area, this fair value gap. All right, for at first it was chopping. We took a trade because I actually took a trade initially when we had this uh 3 minute break. Of the 3 minute break, price was really choppy as hell, and this is where I got my next trading. I mean, I should have learned from this. I've learned from this the other time. I don't know why I repeated the same mistake, and that mistake is if price enters our area and it starts consolidating, giving this kind of choppy ass price action, we shouldn't take any BOS from it. But I did, and in return we had a loss. So we had another re-entry again off on this. Let me just remove this shit off here. This 3 minute break of structure. The last price action before the break of structure, which was this. Then hopping down to the 1 minute, which I don't really think there was anything to look at all. Oh my god. It's pretty annoying as hell, bro. Well, these two. Don't mind my messy chat. Alright, so we had that area on the 3 minute break, and still the same thing. Down scaling down to the 1 minute, we had another a 1 minute OB, a 1 minute fair value gap within the POI, the last price action that caused the break, and which is where we targeted and we put for our entry and stop loss rather than highs on drawn liquidity. Then in terms of take profits, as always, I always take half of my proceeds at a 1:2 to 2.5. But considering the fact that we already had this movement and we had this though right off here, I took my first proceeds off here. Then in terms of our main take profit areas, oh my god. we had these 30 minutes lows, 1 hour highs, and in return we had this 15-minute break, this 15 minutes fair value gap, and which we targeted all of them, and we had TP1 and TP2 smashed TP3. We saw uh, that after this price, after market came and took out the liquidity at these lows into prior before the sesh, we saw a break of structure indicating that price was gonna change direction. And by the way, I sent this trade on my Discord, so all the people who were on my Discord had were signaled to take the trade, and they all took profit from it. And everything is there. I'll leave a link in my description below, down below, for any one of you who wants to join and be part of the family and take trades like this, make big wins like this. So back to the trade setup. We had that 3-minute break of structure of a liquidity sweep, and based on what the market was presenting, this gave me an opportunity to sell, which is against our initial setup, and that's because of based on what the market showed us. And off on that, I didn't hesitate to cut my profits around this area, and in turn switch setup, and the same tactics, say last price action, which was this fair value gap, which we highlighted over here. As price retraced into it, we took our buy, stop loss, the last candlestick that made the fair value gap, and for targeted the 1 hour high that was into the market. Now I understand this is like really overwhelming and confusing, but I promise you it's really just a straightforward strategy. And just to iterate on that again, we look for highs, we look for our target prior before the market. And what can those target be? What are those our target? We have liquidity, and we have fair value gap. Our fair value gap prior before the market that we've marked out as market goes to those areas within our into this session. What are our confirmations for entry? Break of structure on the 3-minute time frame. Break of structure or SMT. And SMT, we can have a break of structure without an SMT. We can have a break of structure with an SMT. All still goes well. No break of structure, no entry. Market still keeps on moving and doesn't respect the 3-minute our targets, and we don't look for entries. Then upon the confirmation, what are our confluences for which we enter off from? We have fair value gaps, we have inverse fair value gap, we have OB, and breaker block. So these are what we work with to find our entry setup and to determine how we exit and where we put our SL in the market. It's very simple, straightforward strategy, and that is how we took our trade on Nasdaq. God, that's how we took this trade on Nasdaq. Therefore, on Ethereum, same concept. Prior before the sesh, we marked out our targets of 1 hour highs and 1 hour lows. We saw this fair value gap, and this fair value gap was really tapped into, and I just let it out and instead marked the lows and marked the highs out prior before the session. Then hopping down onto the 30 minutes, still the same thing, nothing new except from this low. Then we can now scale down to the 3 minutes. until the 3 minutes. We had an SMT on BTC. BTC setup, I didn't really see a setup that I like, and I didn't take the setup on BTC, but I took the setup on Ethereum and I gave that on my Discord. And we had, so back to the stop, we had the sweep plus an SMT with a breakup structure. We had the 3 minute breakup structure. Then we marked out the last price action that caused that breakup structure, which was this. Actually, was this breakup block. Was this breakup block? Then we scaled down to the 1 minute to look for optimal price entry. So into our area, what was the same last price action that caused the market broke out off from this order block, and that's where we exactly put our place of entry. And as market retraced into it, we took our sell. And as for stop loss, just right above the order block. Then in terms of take profit, same areas that we marked out. This 1 hour lows, this fair value gap, this 1 hour, 30 minutes lows, and the 1 hour fair value gap. And we smashed relatively like a 1:6.7 before market went in the opposite direction. And of course, already shifts our. Oh, sorry, we only hit 1:4. 1:4 before market went in the opposite direction, and in turn didn't stop out on loss though. We already uh, performed proper trade management and came out on profit, smashing a 1:2, our first and second take profit hit. So that brings us to the end of trade recap. See you guys in the next one. Peace.